Let's head over to Switzerland for Basel against Porto in the Champions League. We're going to break down both teams' tactics here, including Porto's starman Jackson Martinez. Let's talk tactics. So an intriguing fixture in the last 16 of the Champions League. If you're watching after, don't worry, we're going to be recapping the game in which we will have the goals in the description below. But let's talk first and foremost about Porto and their star man. 12 goals in 12 appearances. Jackson Martinez, that's in all competitions. 5 goals in the Champions League. I highlighted him during the group stage. He is a player to watch. He does know to be a poacher and to score from distance. And he links up well with his Mexican partner, Herrera, who plays in the midfield, who links up play. We know him from the World Cup. Great player. So let's take a look at Porto's formation in the last game. So what they do here is a 4-4-2 standard, but what I must stress is that it quickly switches and transitions to a 4-3-3 when they counter-attack. You look here, this is what I imagine they start with, but when they get the ball, Herrera tucks into the middle with Torres usually, and they go to a 4-3-3, and if Quaresma's playing, he'll go up front with former Barcelona Mantello, and Jackson will hold the line right up top. Martinez is a great player at holding the ball up. He sees strength in his size. He's one player to watch. I don't think he might, I'm going to say it, I don't know if he'll be at Porto much longer. He is doing well there, but I imagine that teams in the summer will be looking to try and steal his signature. And what they do is they link up well. Herrera, I was a big fan of his in the World Cup. What he does is he plays as a central midfielder, but he'll float, and he doesn't have an actual position. If you see him in the World Cup, he picked up the ball on the left and the right. He's got a great delivery, and he links up play well. And those two are the Porto star men to watch in this game. Jackson Martinez can score from distance. He can score inside the box. If you watch some of their goals throughout the Champions League, there was one moment in particular in which Herrera and Jackson Martinez linked up beautifully for a 1-2 before the ball was drilled into the back of the net. And that is what's going to have to that Basel are going to have to focus on. The transition between those two players, because that is where most play comes from. They like to attack wide like most Champions League teams do and try and penetrate in behind and use Jackson Martinez for his ability inside the box. But they can also play it around, wear you down, like most Portuguese teams. I think Jose Mourinho left this with Porto and they've carried it on. They know how to keep possession. They know how to break teams down and they will attack when they see fit. And I think they're an underdog to go a little bit further in this competition, but their opponents are no mugs. FC Basel, they play with one thing that I could sit here and talk about. They play with one thing that I don't talk about as much, and that's heart. They just simply go out to win. They're a resilient team. They're hard to beat, as Liverpool and Real Madrid saw in the group stage. And we're going to throw here to Joaquin to tell us a little bit about FC Basel.
So FC Basel are the defending Swiss champions. You know, many of you will remember them from their 2012 run, where Xherdan Shaqiri lit up the Champions League. Chelsea know a bit about him. And they now have another attacking midfielder who is leading them in goals, Shkelzen Gashi. 12 goals in all competitions this season for Basel. They're currently doing well. They're sitting on the top of their league, clear by 8 points. And they've done really well. They've done well against the last time they faced Portuguese opposition. They won 3-0 against Sporting in the Europa League 2 years ago. So impressive notes from them, but the last time they were in the Champions League knockout stages, they won the first leg, 1-0 against Bayern Munich, which was such an impressive result, but then went on and got crushed 7-0 in the second leg. So, you know, best of luck to them to do a little better this time around. It's going to be tough for them, but if there is something they should target, the Portuguese goalkeeper, Helton, has come back in. Many of you remember him from a few fantastic saves as well as some terrible howlers. So those guys need to get some shots from range on target, because who knows what Helton we're going to see.
So the formation that we must need to talk about really quick, as well as that, they have to utilise their formation to obviously stay strong at the back, but utilise Porto's slightly crazy, I don't know, like eccentric, whatever, goalkeeper who likes to be kind of the centre of attention in many times, but he's also susceptible to making mistakes. And one player I want to highlight who can actually exploit those mistakes is Fry. Fry played against Liverpool and scored the goal at Anfield, which was one of my favourite goals in the Champions League. And here's why. Because he plays as a central midfielder. But what he does is he bypasses his two attacking midfielders and he'll drive into this space. They'll tuck back in to go to somewhat of a 4-5-1. And then Fry will move forward. So he's unmarked. He'll drive into this area and he links up with his striking partner. And if you watch that goal, he just wandered in this area. Liverpool did not pick him up. This is at the peak of Liverpool's defensive errors, it has to be said. But he picked it up, made a lovely 1-2 with his partner, and he just drilled one from distance into the corner. And that is what I think FC Basel can come up with. It's just a moment of brilliance, which then, once they score that goal, their formation, similar to what someone called in here, Jason said, the flying V, soon transitions into a 4-5-1, where they're all men behind the ball. And if they get a 1-goal advantage, even in Switzerland, to take that to Portugal, they could cause an upset. So it's just about exploiting their star players, which is one of them is Fry, who I think is a good talent in there for Basel. So we'll see how it pans out. I still think that Porto will come away with a victory 2-1 in Switzerland. I imagine that Basel will get a goal, but I think that the attacking presence of Martinez, Tello and Herrera going forward, I think it'll be too much for the Basel defence. And I imagine that Porto will leave with a 2-1 victory to go home. If you're watching after the game, comments section below. Stick around, plenty of Champions League, FIFA, what else, Champions League recaps, Champions League tactics. We're all about the Champions League here.